Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to talk about Genesis Testament Volume 9, which is the latest volume of the Index light novel, and these are my unscripted thoughts. At first, we're just going to discuss my general thoughts about the volume. I'll try not to go over the major spoilers, or just beware if you aren't caught up with Genesis Testament at this point. But yeah, like I said, I'll save all the big spoilers towards the end of the video, just in case. But wow, this is what many people in the Index fandom have been waiting for, because this was an absolutely incredible volume. It wasn't perfect in my opinion. I do have some flaws of it, but nothing too major, just some annoying things that I don't like. But other than that, it was incredible. I don't think I'll be able to do it justice in this video, at least chapter 3 and 4. This volume has some of the best moments in the entire franchise for me, and I'm not just saying that. People are saying it on Twitter as well. I'm not the only one who's praising the Index Gospel blindly. Genesis Testament, which is the third light novel series of Index, has had a lot of criticism over the years. People haven't been into it just because it hasn't gotten straight into the character arcs and everything, and upping the stakes to an insane level. And I think that's what people have been waiting for, and I think this volume does deliver that. If you were initially skeptical with Genesis Testament, I think you will love this volume. Especially the main fight of this volume, wow. It will blow your mind, honestly. I'm not going to go into details, but I will towards the end. But yeah, it's just worth reading for that alone. So what's happening at the moment in Index? We have CRC, aka Christian Rosenkreuz, tearing Academy City to shreds. This guy is relentless. He's on a rampage. He doesn't care what's in his way. And what do I think about CRC as a character? Because he's the main villain of this story. And initially, I didn't know what to make of him. Not gonna lie, he had a crazy impact off the bat where he first appeared in the previous volume, where he basically obliterated Alice like she was completely devastated, like a Mortal Kombat fatality or brutality. My god, he was absolutely savage, crushing her skull and then just asserting dominance over the other Transcendents. But what does he actually want? Is it simply, oh yeah, he wants to kill all of humanity like I initially thought it was? Not quite. It's more intricate than that. He's quite a complicated villain. He is a bit of an oddball. He's got like this OCD thing where he just goes around the city and sees like what you think is inconsequential random stuff. Like there's one scene where he goes into like this sees kids at this vending machine or this gacha machine trying to get a Dakota like toy, and he takes interest in weird stuff like that, and you think, oh, for someone who has this crazy messiah like goal of thinking that humanity is messed up and everything needs to be killed, you would think he's like that. I mean, he doesn't like humanity as a whole, how it is at the moment, but the main thing he wants is revenge on the Transcendents, or at least so we think. And he doesn't like Anna Sprengel in particular. They are both Rosicrucians, and you kind of find out why he doesn't like the Rosicrucians towards the end of the volume, which I thought was a great revelation for his character. And once that was revealed, his character then made a lot of sense to me. It definitely improved him massively, rather than me having to try and read back and find out, okay, what's the deal with this guy? But CRC is definitely one of the best antagonists in Index. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's unstoppable, or so you think. Like, he's crazy strong. He's almost as unstoppable as Kuronzon during NT22, or like Orphanage during NT9. That's the kind of vibe it gave me, because literally Academy City throws everything at him. So do the Transcendents and everything. Toma gets involved. They can't stop this man, and he's on a one-way mission to get to the District 7 hospital where Heaven Chancellor is, and they're trying to save Anna Sprengel's life, who got hit by the shrink drink, and they're doing everything they can to get her back to being alive, basically. I mean, she's not fully dead, but she's pretty much a vegetable at this stage. She can't do anything. She's in an ICU unit. So that's basically the main plot of the volume. And I just want to say, Toma. My god, Toma. Toma is the best he's ever been. I don't want to say period, but in a long time. Like, this is the best version of Toma we've seen in GT so far. The best version of the character we've seen since NT22, definitely. NT9. Those are the peak Tomas that I think of when we see Toma in a volume. He's just so desperate in this volume. He has to make a crazy moral dilemma decision early on. I don't think he's been put in a situation like this before, because he's having to deal with the fact that he can't save people now. Like, usually Toma was the guy, okay, if Toma's around, he can save them. Apart from, like, Frender, but well, Frender wasn't there, even though he got blamed for Frender's death in NT12, which was kind of funny. But yeah, Toma can't save people like he used to. He's kind of accepted that, which is kind of weird, considering how Toma used to be like. But I think a bit of realism has sunk into Toma ever since the Offinus arc, where he feels like he's not this god like Offinus who can just wave a magic wand or a magic lance of Gungnir and make everything a-okay. I think he accepts that now more than ever, but it still has a strong mental burden on him. And he has to decide whether he should actually go ahead and save Anna Sprengel's life, because she is a villain. She's basically a terrorist. She's done some horrendous stuff throughout the world and in Academy City. And he's thinking, is it right for me to endanger everyone at this hospital just so I can, try and defeat CRC and save her life? And he has to deal with that, and he struggles. He has to talk to others about it. It's not like he's trying to solve everything on his own. Toma is very reliant on others in this volume, even if he does steal a show towards the end. Now, oh my goodness, which he does. But yeah, this volume just had a vibe of impending doom. I think that's what Kamachi was going for. Everyone just struggles to cope with CRC and his madness. And what Kamachi does, he does a great blend of the new characters like the Transcendents and the old characters. There are a few cameos of established characters, and we get a few cool scenes with them as well, which I'm sure long-standing fans of the series will also appreciate. But as for my flaws with the volume, this volume does end on a cliffhanger, which isn't necessarily a flaw, but GT at the moment does feel a bit like cliffhanger testament. Like, the amount of cliffhangers we do get is absolutely crazy. Nothing seems to be tied up, but at least we know or have an idea of what to look forward to for the next time. As for, like, the first two chapters, they were kind of okay. Like, I thought they were decent, but I was kind of expecting more, considering people were claiming that, oh, this is the best volume of Index of all time, which some people said. I don't believe that myself. That's just my personal opinion. You can have yours. Yeah, I get what the first two chapters were trying to do. They were entertaining, not gonna lie. They were still fun to read, but there wasn't an awful lot to them. It was just them trying to slow CRC down, and it kind of felt repetitive at the times with how it was structured in terms of the story in those first two chapters. But they were still okay. I'm not saying they were bad or anything. Chapter 3, like towards the end of Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, wow. That's when the volume really just goes mental. Typical Kamachi fashion, Kamachi loves to amp up the stakes and the craziness in the final couple chapters in most of his volumes. So that's pretty much a given, but just like it's pretty much the same here. What I also didn't like was that, man, how do I say this? Kamachi, especially in NT and also in GT, he loves fake outs. Now, what is a fake out? It's where basically you say, oh, something bad happens. And then he goes, psych? Nope. That was just a prank. No. They're actually fine. That's the best way I can say about spoiling it. And I swear there's like at least three or four fake outs in this volume. Like one? Okay. I can deal with one because it's Kamachi. But if you have 3 or 4 fake outs in one volume, Like, it just gets to this stage where I just know it's gonna happen. It's like, oh, I know these characters are gonna be fine. I know this bad event isn't gonna be lasting. And it does undermine the impending doom vibe of the volume if that's what's happening.
2 hours later.
Anyways, now I'm going to talk about the spoilers from the volume. You might have noticed I've changed my clothes and it might be from a different angle. That's because I had a family matter to attend to while I was recording, and I also had some other stuff, so it's later on in the day, which explains the change of clothes. But yeah, just to let you know, I'll be spoiling the volume, or the key moment from the volume, in 3, 2, 1. Listen, I couldn't help but talk about this. Toma used his dragon, so he ordered Misaka basically on the phone while CRC was at the hospital to use the railgun to sever his arm so then he could use the dragon as a last resort. And whose voice did we hear when that happened? K&T. Yes, K&T is still alive, and this has huge implications for the previous events when we've seen the dragon come out, or the invisible thing. So when Toma was acting in OT2, when his arm got severed for the first time and we saw the dragon for the first time, like when he was acting, was that K&T actually influencing him? Because it seems like K&T is pretty much the voice in his head that he hears when he does get his arm severed. And the same thing in World War III, where he was like, I don't need you, I can handle this on my own. I think Toma must be aware that using the dragon or the powers beyond the right hand doesn't really make him himself. He's very influenced by his dark nature, and we see that in full effect this volume. And it's crazy that the last time we actually saw the dragons physically on screen in Index, or literally make a physical appearance per se, was OT2. We might have, the dragons may have appeared off screen against Kamisato, we don't know for sure. And of course they've appeared in the Railgun manga a couple of times. But it's been like nearly 20 years since we last saw the dragons in Index, which is, it's wild to think about. Unless you count, NT22R, the dragon shell, but the actual proper dragons that we are familiar with, the dragon shell was very nerfed. I mean, it could be injured by kitchen utensils, so I don't really count that. But if we're talking about the actual Dragon King, it's been 20 years. And this Dragon King, oh my god, it is on steroids. It's pretty much got all the dragon powers from all the other dragons that we've heard about on Twitter from the Railgun editor. It's got them all in one. And don't you worry, I'll be making an updated video about Toma, all his powers, how strong he is. And yeah, this dragon is so OP, but Toma's losing a lot of blood. So CRC is basically trying to stall enough time so that he can basically, win. But it doesn't pan out as he imagined. He thinks he nearly got the win, but Accelerator and Alistair come to Toma's aid. Also, like Kazakiri and the Clipper also boost Toma, which allows Alistair and Toma to do a double punch, which flings him all the way across the other end of the district. My god. There's a lot of different moments for this volume I'd love to talk about, but I'll probably save those for the Toaru podcast with Malcolm and Offiness once we get that arranged, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that was wild. That fight scene was absolutely crazy, just seeing all of Toma's powers on display. And we got so much development and insight into Toma himself. The fact that he was willing to kill CRC in this moment, I think it was K&T influencing him, or just the desperation that he showed. He's willing to succumb to the darkness now inside him, that he's willing to cut corners to save other people. I want to talk about it more in depth. I'm just summing up my general thoughts unscripted. But yeah, that just shows that Toma has changed so much since the beginning of the series. And I don't want to hear anyone say that Toma has not developed. Come on, what more evidence do you need? As for CRC, it's revealed that he's basically a cosplayer as well. He was the guy who originally wrote the Rosicrucian legends. I forgot his name. So that's revealed. And then Alice is still alive, because Alice was temporarily revived by CRC, but turns out, oh wait, she can actually resurrect herself apparently, thanks to the ley lines or something like that. Whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about CRC also killed Misaka, Shogaho, and a number of the Transcendents apart from Good Old Mary, which then allowed Good Old Mary to revive them in the end. And it did come out of nowhere, so I was like thinking, yeah, Misako and Shoko are going to be fine. They're going to be resurrected, because it did come out of the blue. It wasn't like an emotional moment or anything. It was like, whoa, okay. So I was like saying, oh yeah, that's another fake out. Yeah, it's just fake out galore. What can I say? So back to the fake out with Alice. Looks like Alice is pretty deranged. I mean, she's without a head. She's missing a head. And she seems in murder mode with Trismegistus. Her and Trismegistus seem to be like, yeah, screw everything. We're just going to go berserk. Similar to how CRC was at the end of like the previous volume, where we were pretty much like, oh, okay, now they're going on a rampage. It seems to be the same case with Alice at the moment. So it looks like we will need Toma to calm her down. But since Toma pretty much died and came back to life, or nearly died, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, Toma's pretty much done in the hospital. He's going to stay there for a while. I don't know if he'll be able to go out immediately. I mean, he'll try to. We know what he did with Aqua of the back. We know that the hospital doesn't really keep him there when something is about to be like endanger others. So yeah, who's going to stop Alice at the moment? It'll probably have to be Alistair. Alistair was also great in this volume, like seeing some of his Coronzon magic. Even though he got like bodied by CRC, he still put up a good fight. And what I love about Alistair at the moment is that you really get the sense that he loves Toma. I mean, it's been established since OT that Alistair's always admired Toma and the three heroes. But I think ever since the Coronzon arc, like, he no longer sees him as just like a tool or a puppet that he can manipulate. I think he actually sees him and Accelerator, at least, maybe Hamazura as well, as his own children. They are the children of Flamer after all. They are modelled after the Flamer of Academy City and of Alistair himself. I feel like Alistair was the closest to being Toma, because he's always tried to emulate Toma, but he's like, no, I can't be Toma or Accelerator or Hamazura. I can't be a hero because no matter how hard I try, I will always fail, and I'm too submerged by the darkness. I can't escape from the darkness. Unlike Accelerator, who can redeem himself, there's no coming back for Alistair, but I feel like this is the closest Alistair has ever been to being like Toma, just from how selfless he was acting, how he pretty much never gave up on Toma, and was willing to support him at the end as well, doing also Toma's trademark punch alongside him. I feel like Alistair has really turned the corner. Will he go back to being evil and a villain? I think it's still possible. I think it entirely depends on the circumstances, what happens next. Also, Kingsford is still alive, yet after the afterword, another cop-out. So Kingsford was wiped out early by CRC. She was basically friended, she was like cut in half, but hey, she's still alive. Of course. God damn it, Kamachi. But yeah, other than that, this was an incredible volume. Obviously, there were other things that happened that I didn't get to talk about, but I will in the podcast, like I said. I feel like this volume is going to give me so much content to make for videos, so I'm really happy about that. I think people will be excited to see more of Toma's powers explained, for sure. But yeah, what did you think of the volume? Let me know down below. I'm going to rate this volume an 8.5 out of 10. I don't feel like I can give it an 8. I feel like that's too harsh. 8.5 seems right to me, but 9 and 10... I don't know, I feel like if there were some lasting deaths, I would have given it a 9, but it's just too many of them for me. I'm sorry. I really want to give it a 9, but I'm like, my brain is telling me no. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I will try to do more videos very soon before the New Year. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.